Hello, lovelies. You are at the Indigo Rose Lounge, and this is your host, Alyce Dylan. I had a wonderful workshop this week, and it's given me a lot more fodder for this conversation. I'm hoping you will all benefit from it. One of the topics that was covered, somebody asked about, was the know thyself idea. So this world is a little crazy right now, and we have all got different, maybe, collections of labels. So I'll give you what I think of as my list. And you can note for me below or tell me what you think yours are. I am metacognizant. I am INFJ. I am ADHD, neurodivergent. I'm clairvoyant. I'm clairaudient, clairnascient. I have been a medium at times, although I prefer clairvoyance. Mediumship doesn't sit very well with me, just like being a passenger in a car. If I have the option, I'd rather be in the driver's seat. So much for electrical self-driving vehicles. It'll take me a long time to ever get into one of those. But we seem to attract all these different labels as if anybody we're exposed to wants to volunteer a box for us. Like, here's another box, here's another set of symptoms, here's some more labeling. And I just recall the words at the Temple of Delphi which say, know thyself, know thyself. Can we really trust industries which are funded by the people who attach money-making medicines to the diagnosis? Can we trust that? I'm not sure that we can. Don't get me wrong, I am hopeful. I am hopeful that we will see a future, maybe even in my lifetime, where ethics and the good of mankind will once again rise to the top of the pile as motivation for anything, science, anything. I'm just not sure that we're in that space now. So I think it's really important. I think perhaps that for now, we need to rely on ourselves. We have access to additional streams of information. We have indicators that can tell us which way is up. And yet, I'm not saying don't explore all that. The INFJ whole classification, it was done by a friend of mine who is a psychologist. And he wanted me to sit down, answer tons of questions, and got a classification for that, and then some other things, and the results were interesting for sure. Just like I did a couple of months astrology course 30 years ago or so now, where I learned some very interesting things, and I'm very open to astrology, but as a holistic thing, not as a Sunday newspaper prediction. But all of these can be components. All of these ideas can be assembled to help you to understand the programming that's running in the body that you have manifested for this human experience. But it's not me. It's not who I am. I am an eternal spiritual being. I am spirit and a soul. And yes, this human experience was born to those parents with those DNA, and there is ancestral damage there in that line that absolutely influenced my thinking when I was growing up. And there were societal conditions and all of those, and those are wonderful to understand. They're wonderful to understand so we can navigate them. But there is an element of detachment that comes with knowing that you are a spiritual being having a human experience. I am weary of the idea of ever letting others define you or give you a label that defines you. Let's take one of the most prevalent ones, the label Empath, which is fascinating because spell check doesn't let you write the word empath on its own. Have you noticed? It doesn't acknowledge that this word even exists. And yet we have so many of us indigos and spiritually perceptive across the world identifying with the empath community, which is fabulous, and it's wonderful that we find community. But it's just one aspect of the spiritually perceptive. If you have empathy, then it makes sense to follow that and develop the tools to help to cope with that and to really make sense of that. And if you're an empath, there are some very strong and useful abilities that come with that. If you can pick up emotion, you can also beam it. And that satellite dish on your head, as much as it can receive everything, it can also beam something different. And what we need to understand with empathy is that things don't ping for us unless we have something of that in us. So it's also an opportunity for self-exploration. So if we, for example, fear the fear of the field, the fear of the world as an amplification, it will be that we will have an element of that in ourselves. And the best thing we can do there, first of all, tie all those emotions that we don't know if they're ours or they're somebody else's. So we tie them all to helium balloons and let them float away. And the ones that stay are ours. And if we keep focusing on the fear, it means that we have that in ourselves. And so the best thing we can do with that is really work on the fear, which, as I've said, I'm sure so many times now, you all know the song, is by focusing on love. Love banishes fear every single time. So empath labeling or self-identification is fine, but what does that mean? Does it just mean that you're a satellite dish for everybody else's detritus as they walk through? What does that give you? Does that mean you have added abilities? Have you looked? Have you explored that? What is your superpower? Because it's certainly not to be a vacuum of the emotions everyone leaves lying around. That can't be it. Animals don't even evolve abilities that don't contribute to their survival. So how is it that empathy is an enhancement to the survival of the species? And it must be. In order for it to be appearing, it must be. So we can list them. We can list all of our identifications and our labels and do we know ourselves? So find maybe categorizations that help you to explain elements. There's nothing wrong with that. But don't let those things define you. And you're fluid, remember, you're growing. You came here to grow, to expand. Expansion is a part of your nature. It's a part of who you are. It's why you came here. So what you may be today, you may be more things tomorrow. You may start this journey in empathy. You may move it through to clairaudience, clairvoyance. You may move it on to being a channel. Don't let anyone's definitions define who you are. That's your driver's seat. You get to call that. You get to say, this is who I am. This is why I'm here. And this is what I came to learn. And remember that you came here for the fun. You came here for the joy. I think maybe that's the biggest thing that we lose so early on, is the why of it all. Why on earth? Why did I come to this place at this time? Why? And there has to be a why. Come on. At least you must know yourself that well. You must know that you came here. No, let's put it this way. If you had been given door A, hardest level, highest probability of failure, but greatest rewards, versus door B, smooth sailing, not many rewards, but you'll probably make it through. You know what you would have chosen. Come on. You know that you came here to take the big bite of the apple. Don't let the rest of it distract you. Don't let it get you down. You are an amazing spiritual being. You are eternal. And here in this human experience, you are on the leading edge of the evolution of mankind. Your well-being, your wholeness, your wellness could well contribute to the evolution of humanity as a whole. You're that important. And you chose this challenge because you thought you could do it. And your fairies, your people, they're all supporting you. They're ready to be there for you and support you in whatever you need. And you knew that they would be. So remember that. Remember that they're there. Remember that they are really just yearning to be given a mission, a challenge, support you in whatever way they can. And love it. Love the journey. Find out, who is this human being that I am being? What are the things that influence me? What challenges me? Does the fact that I have 7 planets in Libra mean anything or not? Is it helpful for me to know? Once again, this is always my defining line. Is it helpful for me to know? How does this knowledge serve me at this moment? And if you can find things that help you to determine who you are, then that's wonderful. Add it to the cache. This is part of my self-knowledge. Yay. But when we're spending more and more time in awareness of our spirit selves, the nuances, the quirks of our human experience are less and less meaningful. Yeah, you know what? I don't do very well with arbitrary decisions that I have no emotional push on. I don't have any basis for them. And so I've worked out mechanisms to move around that. I go to a restaurant, and if I have to choose between 2 things, I have a list of 5 things as a default. I'll choose those things rather than get myself into the indecision. It's fine because I don't have an emotional ping around food. So for me, I can use workarounds. I know myself. I know enough about things that waste time and create frustration. So I just put in workarounds for them. And then I never have to think about it again. So there are wonderful benefits to knowing what programming, what social conditioning, what astrology, what patterns of behavior you might tick the boxes of might be helpful. And if it is, great. Don't let those things define you. You've got that ball. You define you. You decide who you are. Because you're beautiful and you're powerful and you're all that, okay? So whatever you choose, just remember for yourself and everybody else, just love always.